I watch Styxhexenhammer666 every day. I enjoy his commentary. I think he's a highly intelligent individual. You know, I have some qualms here and there. He doesn't always fully research things, but no one can research all things and be fully aware of everything. So it isn't really a criticism. It's just to point out that I'm not a blind fanboy of some kind. But I have to respectfully disagree with his response to Tim Pool. We are already in a civil war. The left completely hates anyone who disagrees with them. And they cannot be brought to the table for discussion, right? They refuse to change their opinions. No amount of evidence, no facts, no emotional plea is going to change their minds. So the Civil War is already here. And the violence from the left will continue to increase. They are so emotionally distraught and so hungry for power by any means that their attempts to punish people who disagree with them will become more and more extreme. And at some point, average people will be forced to act. Now, it's possible that somehow this gets diffused by law enforcement or some other social happening, like a FICD class, or things that come out of the Epstein case or something like that. You know, some of these loudest voices from Washington, D.C. that are the race baiters and the ones sowing as much division as possible. You know, some of these people might ultimately go to jail or go away, slink off to their homes and quit being so divisive. But the average person who sees themselves on the left harbors a deep resentment, borderline hatred, but at a minimum, a deep resentment for everyone who disagrees with them. I work in Chicago, Illinois. It's a Democrat stronghold, and it has been for a long time. And I was talking to a coworker of mine yesterday about, he brought up the fact that New York Times had changed the headline of that article, and he was praising the New York Times for having done so. And I said, yeah, I can't agree with that, because it's not journalism when you give in to pressure from the mob and try to change the facts or soften the facts just because of some outside pressure. That's not journalism. And he said, oh, no, I totally disagree. Because it doesn't matter what Donald Trump said, he didn't mean any of it. Therefore, the New York Times was absolutely right to change their headline. Facts don't matter to these people. They don't even want the facts to matter. So as they push to punish those who disagree with them and to exert their authority, average people are going to be forced to act. So, Styx, Tarl, you may choose to act in whichever way suits you best. And that may not be an inflammation of the situation. But as you scale that scenario up, there will be people like me who are genetically incapable of being a victim. I refuse to be victimized. I cannot do it. I cannot accept it. To a fault. To a fault. It's caused me some interesting trouble in my youth. A great example is I was sitting at a bowling alley with my parents one time when I was 16, and I was waiting for my friend to come. He had his driver's license and I didn't yet, and he was going to come pick me up because our parents were bowling together, and he and I were going to go do some other things. And so I was sitting playing a game in the little arcade area while our parents were off bowling somewhere else, and the rent-a-cop came up to me and started giving me a hard time. And I said, hey man, my parents are over there. I'm not here alone. I'm not causing any trouble. Well, that escalated pretty quickly. And the next thing we knew, we're standing in front of my father, and I'm being told by the police officer that I'm a rude and insubordinate young man, a problem causer and troublemaker, and so on and so forth. And the bottom line is, I just refuse to be victimized. I will not tolerate it. And there are many, many Americans like that. So when the left continues to push to victimize everyone who doesn't agree with them, to punish everyone who doesn't agree with them, there's going to be a large enough reaction to that the situation will continue to snowball. I do agree that it's not likely to look the way the first American Civil War looked. It will probably continue to be insurgency and guerrilla war type stuff, violence in the streets, but that can only go on so long before it escalates into something bigger. The caveat to what I'm saying is the flip side. The other part of all this is that I think that Trump has more support this time around than he did last time. And that's important because it demonstrates that the violent left is the minority, but they're a majority minority. Like I said, here in Chicago, most people agree with the views of the far left, even if they don't agree with those policies, right? Even if they don't want to implement super far left policies, they still agree with the ideology of demonizing conservatives, of re-educating conservatives, and anyone who isn't a leftist. That's something you have to understand, Styx. Doesn't matter that you're a libertarian minarchist. It doesn't matter that you hold left-wing views, that you're pro-choice. That doesn't matter at all, because they'll still seek to re-educate you. And so the question is, what do you do when that actually comes to bear? Some of us will have no choice but to fight back.